want to welcome you guys to my channel. Today is a very special day. It's my grandmother's birthday, and whenever we go out to eat, we go to Olive Garden. She likes to get the chicken scampi, so that's what I'll be making today. It'll be my version of the chicken scampi. We're first going to get started with our prep, and then we're going to move on to the cooking process. So first, we're going to be starting with our produce. Make sure you wash all of your produce. Wash, because you have to remember, these things are coming off of trees, out of the ground. So you want to make sure that you're washing off any pesticides, any bugs, residue. Just rinse off everything. So I'm using some leftover bell peppers because you want to try and use as much as you can out of all your vegetables and produce. Try to eliminate waste. So I'll basically only be throwing away this and the seeds that were in the bell pepper. Now, the way we're going to be cutting our bell pepper today, we're going to be doing julienne cuts. Julienne is a 1/8 inch thick, so about this thick. You're going to cut all your peppers the exact same size, just so they all cook at the same time. Now really quick, I'm going to show you guys how to easily remove the seeds. So you saw I cut the top and the bottom off of my bell pepper. Then you're going to slice it down the side, and you're going to lay it on its side. You're going to turn your knife, and you're going to cut all the inside. Cut, roll it over, cut, and you removed your seeds without making a huge mess. Now you want to go in and make sure you don't have any of the extra pit inside of there. Move that. I'm going to slice this about 2 inches long. And there we have all of our sliced bell peppers. You're going to sit your bell peppers to the side. Next, you're going to slice some red onion. So here I have my red onion. So to take off first, with onions in general, you want to always take off the first and second layer. So you're going to slice the top and the bottom. You can throw both of these away. This should be your only waste from your onion, this and the 2 layers. So your first layer is this paper-like layer that you can go ahead and peel off. Now your second layer is going to be a little bit trickier to take off. Your second layer is going to be like a leather-like layer that's on the outside of your onion. You're going to go ahead and peel that off. Sometimes it may end up like connecting to a thicker piece. Just go ahead and pull that off as well. And now you're ready to slice your onion. So for my onion, I'm going to do the same thing I did with my bell peppers. They're also going to be julienne cut. I have my sliced red onion. Now we're going to add our red onion into the same bowl as our peppers. Now, depending on how many people you're cooking for, you may have leftover veggies and stuff, but that's perfectly fine because you can use these in another dish. I mean, the base of all great dishes are garlic, bell peppers, and onions. Of course, you have your celery and your carrots, but garlic, bell pepper, and onions are your main hitters. We're going to sit this to the side. Next, I'm going to bring out my chicken, so I will be switching cutting boards. So me personally, whenever I deal with any type of raw meat, I like to get as much out of the way as possible, which is why I removed my peppers and my onions, because I just don't want that chicken juice getting in my stuff. Even though it will be cooked and all the bacteria and germs will be killed, I just like to take that extra step. So for our chicken today, we're going to be seasoning our chicken with some garlic, some salt, some pepper, and paprika. So once you've seasoned up your chicken, you're going to go ahead and heat up your pan and add your cold fat so you can go ahead and saute your chicken breast. You're going to do your chicken breast before you do your sauce so you can use your fond from your chicken in your sauce, and then you can place your chicken back into the sauce, or you can wait till plate up. So before the video started, I went ahead and filled my pot up with water for my noodles so it could be boiling by the time I needed it. So as you can see now, it is already boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and place my noodles in the water. While my noodles are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and place my chicken into my pan. I'm going to do presentation side first.
A few moments later.
We're going to do a check, a color check, see what it looks like. Give it a little bit more time. Now when you cook protein, everything has a temperature that it should be cooked to. Chicken is one thing that you have to cook it all the way through or you will get sick. You ever heard of salmonella? You get that from eating raw chicken. So to make sure that my chicken is completely done, I'm going to temp it. And if it's not up to temp, then I will continue to cook it. Now when you temp your chicken, you always want to temp it in the thickest part of the chicken, because down here it could be done, but it could be raw up here. So you're going to check the thickest part, because if it's cooked here, it's definitely cooked there. So right now we're temping in at about 124. Can you see that? 124. So we're going to place our chicken back in. It needs to be at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. One thing I will tell you, a chef always has a thermometer and a Sharpie. Always. Thermometer because you always need to check your temperature, and a Sharpie because whenever you're putting something up, it needs to be labeled, dated, and initialed. Why? Because if you put something in the fridge and someone comes behind you and they don't know what it is and they don't know when you put it in there, they're not going to know what to do with it. It could have been in there for 2 weeks. They wouldn't know. There's no date. It could be ricotta, but it looks like mozzarella. There's no date. Make sure you always label and date.
Three weeks later.
Alright, so we're going to do our final temp. I also forgot to mention earlier, you always want to remove your protein away from its heat source, because having it near the heat source can give it a false read. We are temping in at 168, so we can go ahead and remove our chicken from the pan. Next, we're gonna use the same fat, the same oil, because it's produced a lot of flavor and a lot of fond at the bottom of our pan, which we could use in our sauce. But before we create our sauce, we're gonna go ahead and saute our veggies. So you see that I added a little bit of flour to dredge my vegetables. It'll give it an extra bit of color to it. So we're gonna mix them around and go ahead and place them in our pan. And it'll also help to thicken our sauce. It starts to look like it's drying out. You can go ahead and add some butter. About this much will be fine. Once your veggies are done, you can go ahead and place them in another bowl. So now that we've sauteed our peppers and we've cooked our chicken and our noodles off, we're gonna go ahead and start with our sauce. So you see all this beautiful brown fond at the bottom of your pan. This is gonna be the base for the flavor of your sauce. So before you do that, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna add in some garlic. This is the brand I use. I have chopped garlic. I usually get minced, but we had chopped, so it's fine. Add in your garlic. You're gonna squeeze some lemon juice in. You're gonna sprinkle a little flour. Now we're gonna pour some white cooking wine into our pan. Now we're gonna let this reduce till it's all sec. All sec means almost dry. We're gonna sprinkle in some basil and some oregano. Now that our sauce is reduced to where we want it, all sec, almost dry, we're gonna add in our heavy cream and our seasonings. I'm gonna add in some garlic. Next, I'm gonna add in some red pepper flakes, but not too much because you don't want it too spicy. It's not a spicy dish. Next, I'm gonna add in my Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna use the grated because it's gonna incorporate a lot easier. So while your sauce is still reducing, you could go ahead and add your peppers and onions back in. Go ahead and mix that around. Once your sauce has thickened up, you can go ahead and add your noodles to your sauce. Go ahead and mix our noodles up, and if we need to, we can add more noodles. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I'm gonna put a picture of the finished product after this. You can follow me on my Instagram pages, my main page, and my food account. And that will be all for today. Tune in next time. Thank you for watching.
Scrap.